All right. Sorry for the delay, everybody. Oof, my hair be a wreck right now. It's all good. All right. Alrighty. Go ahead and alert everybody again. All right. All right, we're gonna go over some some news here. All right. So we are closing in on our last day for a 3-day weekend here. So tomorrow is definitely a big day. Usually before a 3-day weekend, you'll see a lot of stocks pull back. So that is definitely something we'll be watching tomorrow. But as far as a recap on today, definitely a mix amongst investors. And as far as sectors, we had a lot of different movement. We had Apple falling, Tesla going up. Small caps cruised to 1.06% to close at their highest level since May 3rd. NASDAQ composite barely pulled back at all, just kind of sat around and hung out. Utilities, industrials were the strongest sector. The XLI increased by, let's see, it's like 1.4%, followed by financials. Those were up 1.15%. Basic materials moved up around 0.8% as well. Utilities, consumer staples, tech all stumbled a little bit more, or over 0.5%. So that's looking back on the day, we had a lot of stocks that showed way more strength individually than we really had, certain runners, or certain like solar was running, or this, it was, if anything, meme stocks, if you want to call it that. But crypto. Those of you, I know I posted a silly video on our YouTube, on our Instagram and YouTube, but I do see a potential falling wedge on the daily here. Now, this is actually coming out of a ascending wedge, so funny enough, but this is a little bit early, too early to tell. But I do look at that 20-day moving average right here, almost perfectly aligned with that. It's important to keep, any trader knows, any good trader doesn't just focus on one single thing. They're aware of the markets in general, even sometimes foreign markets and how they correlate. So it's always good to keep an eye on that. So AMC, we're going to go over these kind of like as we see them. I'm going over this like I'm not in it, but this is one that just parabolic rise. Looking back, I think I'm going to go here to the weekly first of all. So looking back here on the previous levels, or the previous levels that we had, we got slapped right at, or not, I guess you wouldn't call it slapped, but we finished the day right at one of our main, this is where AMC first broke out, and this is where AMC broke down, and this is where AMC has bounced. So this has been almost like a center level for AMC. So if anything, oh, look at my Cash App down there. But if anything, it's pretty interesting that we did end up closing the day at this level, at that 2650 level. Obviously, insane volume. Obviously, the RSI is super high, but at this point, there's not much technicals you can do except for watch certain levels where selling or buying may slow down. So the next level that we have is 2950. Obviously, $30 is a psychological number, so that's definitely going to be another target. And I think that it won't be as hard to. I think this range in between 3050 and 2950 will probably be, that dollar range will likely be where we see some of the toughest levels, and that's actually where we whipped to and immediately we immediately pulled back from there. Obviously, if you're in this or if you're currently playing AMC, you know, the best tactic is, if you've been in and you're just hanging out, at some point it's not a bad idea to trim half, or, you know, trim a quarter at least of your position, because you know, depending on your fill, you've tripled your investment. And even just buying it a week ago, you know, we're up ridiculous. So looking at one more, I'll set a couple more levels so those of you who watch this later on tonight can recap as well. So it looks like 33 is another level, and then of course all-time highs where we made that double top previously, that's 3550. So that's where we're going to be watching if AMC ends up going that far. If you do look at the weekly, you do have a multiple EMA crossovers here, but like I said, technicals are doo-doo when you're looking at a stock that's going through something like this. So those of you, a lot of you did play space today. This one is filled. So it's really funny. I made a video on space about the gap that it needed to fill, and if you look, I have it a little bit messed up here, but that gap is exactly where we consolidated. So we actually consolidated in this gap. Hold on one second. Oh shit. Oh, I have a black screen. Why is my screen black? Oh, I apologize. I'm a noob. There we go. All right. Okay. Man, I feel like it's just restart. Whoops. Anyway, well, I'll go right back. I guess I gotta go back over AMC. So let's look at AMC really quick. So it just marked out some levels for you guys. And this is looking at the weekly time frame. The next, it's really like this body of this daily candle is where we pulled back to. That's that 2650 level, strong level there. You should see a little bit of consolidation here, or if you even end up making it to that level, you would likely see quite a bit of fight until you would either squeeze out the shorts or they win. We immediately rejected those levels. And then I marked out the rest of these levels. So if you guys need to, you can kind of go back. Thanks, Bennett. Alrighty, so let's look at space. I'm just gonna go over these. So one second. So yeah, space was up 15%. That one filled a small gap, has another gap to fill on the daily. This is that small gap where we consolidated. And honestly, if we do continue, and we're up at that overbought level on space, so I mean the next level is 35. Obviously, psychological numbers are always big levels, but 35 is the next level that I see on space, and we'll recap that one tomorrow morning. Those of you who are in the chat on Discord, so we'll we'll recap that in the morning. But definitely we got pulled back and stayed right around this level of 3150 where we tried to short it. All right. Not really short it, but we tried to take put option contracts. So 1 second. Let's see. Sorry, guys. All right, so as far as the S&P, SPY moved up and only held 0.12%, so not much of a change there. Does kind of look like a little bit of a daily bull flag. You're just holding this level. If you look at the MACD on the daily for SPY, and my honest and humble opinion, I do think that SPY will likely, depending on, now this is the issue, right? With SPY, we could, especially with the way that we finished today, we have a 3-day weekend, and when we look back at certain times in the market, when we come across time 3-day weekends, usually we'll see a pullback. Now, if we look at where we could see a pullback, it looks. Let me get rid of that. It looks as if we are holding. And we are moving up here in aftermarket, our post-market in just a little bit, but we held that 417.85 support. And you can see that we closed red, but then immediately shot up. And it's really funny, I charted this, if you guys can see it right here. I charted this, and so more than likely, unless we were to just double top tomorrow, we could, rather than have I mean, if you're just looking at the charts, we could have more or less a decent push to the upside. I think a reasonable target for tomorrow is 422.60 or 65. Let me double check that mark. So yeah, 422.65 seems like a reasonable level to the upside. The risk that we have right now, obviously, if we see futures move up, then we can X-nay that. We don't need to worry about it, but we could double top here and then potentially see that pullback that I'm talking about. We do have a small gap right here starting at 416.65 and then ending at, let's see, 415.44. And then of course you have that 200-day EMA right here on the hourly, which I like to, is well respected for me anyway. Yeah, I'll check on all these stocks. I'm just going to kind of go over the news and stuff like that, but absolutely I can do Highland, and we'll go over Tesla and everything like that. I just want to kind of make sure that I'm going over all of these different price targets, so you guys know what we're looking for. So you guys see where I have that price target there. So that could be where we end the day tomorrow, or you do see that kind of top. This is that previous all-time high, so there's that potential that we pull back. It was really funny. Manny pointed out that we rejected 420.70, which was right off of 420.69. Ridiculous. The market's a meme. But let's see here. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just chart and path this out. So if we were to hold and continue to move up, there's a possibility that we could push all-time highs and then pull back. But and I'm looking out like into next week potentially. We could see, and that doesn't look right, but we could see something like this. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for. But that price target would be right around the, man, I really hate when I don't need to know what currency I'm trading in. 428.65 is a rough estimate. You could even potentially put it at 429.85. So but that could be a potential price target. And you see this channel runs up all the way until 435.50. So who knows? But that's what we're looking at going into tomorrow. If we did reject 422.65, there's that potential for a double top there. So that's one other thing to keep in mind. QQQ. That's not the right thing. There we go. Okay, so we went over this last time, and I'm going to clean up this chart a little bit. I'll leave the levels on there because those were obviously well respected. And I'm going to pull this back up. So this does kind of look like a really shitty cup and handle. Potentially it is a double bottom as well. If you pull that off, that's a 1-2 double bottom right there. And so in my opinion, you know, it does look like kind of like a cup and handle, but we made all this effort to come back into trend. And let me close out these right here. Sorry, I have charting things all the time. But this daily support coming off of the COVID lows, you know, we managed to double bottom off of this really big 316 support, and then we ended up shooting back up to 330, 355, and then kind of pulling back. But that is back above that support, and what was resistance, but now support again. So there is the likelihood that we could pull back on the Qs. 330.88 would be my level there. I think we could probably go down to the hourly and kind of tighten that level up though. Yeah, so that's kind of what that looks like there. Let me pull that back. 330.85. So if we were to open up, we have this 331, or excuse me, yeah, 331.25 level. That's right there, and that could be where, because this is never a good sign, right? If you spend too much time consolidated under a resistance, eventually you just reject. So in that case, if we just continue to hold here, this would more than likely be a rounded top, and we could pull back to this 200-day EMA. Then you run the risk, if you break below, if you hit that 326.76 level, you risk that head and shoulders as well. So we'd like to see the Qs push and hold this very small gap. It looks like that's actually where it is consolidating underneath you, excuse me. There's a really, really super small gap right here. And if you see, that's literally where we keep bouncing off of. So we want to push 336 as the next level in order to kind of continue to move to the upside in the Qs. But we're not too far from that daily support that I'm talking about right here, this big white one. So we could see that pull back there tomorrow. 330.85 would be the max there for me. Okay, Russell. Almost done with the major boring ass Qs. I'm sorry, guys. Same story here. So ended the day with a doji, but ended up moving up in post market. So if you look at that post market move, you know, it shows quite a bit of strength. This one breaking out of this little triangle here, popping right out. Nice EMA crossover here on the 2 hour and the 1 hour. I don't know why I pulled up the 2 hour, but you got this really nice crossover over here. Decent volume, not crazy, but this is, you know, usually when you see big volume like this, you're nearing or around a support, that bottom buy volume there. MACD does look like it's kind of squeezing out on the hourly, looks a little bit overbought. So you may end up getting a gap up. So keep that in mind. We may end up gapping up. And then one thing that you can expect on a Friday when you get a big gap up is you get one or two things: chop, or you go and fill that gap, or at least partially fill that gap. Let's see here. Let me check out a target or two, and then I'll keep it moving. I didn't ask. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for coming to the stream. I do appreciate it. And the likes. Okay, so 220. I would imagine if we continue to move in this general direction, 220, 227.20 would likely be where we would see our next stop. Maybe even 227.35, but this one's making a decent bottom here, definitely setting up for a potential cup and handle. So watch the Russell potentially moving tomorrow to the upside. So the Dow still in trend, and if you guys don't recall, we talked heavily. Yeah, absolutely. We'll check those. I'm almost done. I pinky promise. So here's the deal. We talked about this flag here, and that's one of the reasons why we swung Boeing. That was and this is why I love swing trading, right? If you build the ability to scalp, right, and you're able to set targets and methodically and mechanically scalp, right? So I mean, not everybody's perfect. Everybody slips up. Things happen. But if you're long in something and you see something like that and you feel that sentiment of like, okay, this is a daily flag. We have a massive gap above us. You know, it's held that 50-day support many, many days in a row. If it was going to go down, it would go down, right? You can only consolidate so much onto a support until you bounce. We'll go. I'll talk about that in a minute, Zach. That's an interesting question. But and there's one or two things that could happen here potentially because of that. But that's one of the reasons why when we're long and we use options to swing trade, we want to try and establish where the higher time frame trend is. If we can establish that, and we know where our targets are, then moving and scalping underneath can make for, you maximize up and downside. And obviously this is a practice, for me, I had quite a frustrating play. And one of the things is you're shaking off the rust too. Swing trading wasn't as easy as it always has been. And I say that easy, like it's not, it didn't, it was never really easy, but it was not as hard to hold things, because when you found something in trend, it was pretty easy to find a correlating time frame where your EMAs work together and you're able to find those bounce spots. I use Alacola as a big example, but it was one of my favorite plays because it was a way for me to exhibit and practice that exact same thing. And it's nerve-wracking to hold contracts that sometimes end up being red even. You might go green 20% and then see a red day. But if you know that the setup is good and you do have a very firm stop loss, if you're maximizing up and downside, and it's a practice, guys, so don't feel bad if you're not able to do that. It's something that you have to, if you have to practice scalping, you have to practice swing trading, and you have to build that confidence in doing that. But that's one of the reasons why when we see something like the BA so curled up and the Dow, and it's just not that sector. The sector hasn't rotated there, but the sector itself isn't in any type of downtrend. It's just not that sector's day. But that's always a good indicator there. So, okay. Memorial weekend this year, we will see the highest gas prices in over 7 years. That's definitely newsworthy. And I'm curious how we're going to see some of these gas companies move in correlation. Even USO. Looks like USO has made very weird looking inverse head and shoulders. probably something a little bit different. Man, oil's making a smooth recovery. It's got massive gaps to the upside. I mean, 49 to 55, 51.50, 55. Then starting at 58, you have a massive COVID gap to 69. So, oil's definitely one of those ones that you could potentially watch. So, okay. Let's see. So apparently, yeah, we talked about Nintendo, and it's pretty crazy because I'm not going to buy it already because they said it's going to be $299 more expensive than this one. So you can just kiss that one goodbye. But that was apparently newsworthy, so it's been on the news. They're putting out a new Switch, and I couldn't find anything in the stock that. It looked like they were more or less like trying to pump it, but the stock just, it's on the OTC and it just doesn't trade very well. Let's see here. I'm sure there's money to be made there, not saying anything. Wall Street legend and former crypto skeptic Carl Icahn has had a change of heart. Now the billionaire wants to be involved in the digital asset space in a big way. The 83-year-old investor called cryptocurrency ridiculous, but his paradigm shifted, completely shifted. He even threw shade at the dollar. Why is this important? Because his net worth is around $22 billion. And other than that, investors need heed his advice. So he could end up being that. Maybe I'll email him my Bitcoin chart. Is that illegal? Allegedly. CRM. I know some of you guys in the chat were watching that, but apparently they did quite well on earnings. They if you guys already got this in the Discord, I'm sorry, but EPS was $1.21 versus the 88-cent estimate. Revenue $5.96 billion plus, or basically plus 23% year over year. The CEO, Mark Benioff, said, we had the best first quarter in our company's history. We believe our customers' 360 platform is improving to be the most relevant technology for companies accelerating out of the pandemic. With the incredible momentum through our core business, we've been raising our revenue guidance for this fiscal year by $250 million, approximately $26 billion, and non-GAAP operating margin of 18%. So definitely some big movement there. Okay. They climbed over 4% in after hours. Take a look at their chart. This one actually is really, really awesome. And sometimes the chart will speak to you before earnings, but hot damn. I mean, does it get any better than that? What a clean breakout. Heavy consolidation, and a lot of times before earnings, that's the kind of movement that you get. Yeah, it's just channel trading. So this is if it can break and hold. Now, don't be surprised if you see a pullback, and I mean a pullback all the way back down to resistance. It could go retest that, shake out people. But definitely a strong push. But you need those moving averages to catch up. A lot of the times, that's a good way to, like for me, a good second entry is when the moving averages cross the actual resistance line. You'll notice an influx in buying power at that point. Who's this Manny guy? Restraining order. Now. Okay. Costco, they crushed earnings. I love Costco. That's on camera now. Expectations today after the close, the big box store company grew sales 22% to $44 billion. Not only do I love the muffins at Costco, but I also love shut up guys. I also love the stock. I like the stock. I think it's a good stock. I'll have to see. Can't do this on YouTube, guys. Weirdos. Oh, God. All right. So we're about to go ahead and close in. One of the reasons I'm pulling these up, and I want you guys to take note of this. One of the reasons why I pull up these stocks after I go over the news and I chart each one of them is because that's where the money's at. That's now where the attention is at. And if we strategically can plan our attack, watch for those bounces, pay attention to those higher time frame reversal signs, then we could potentially catch the next bounce. Because just when you see something like this where, let's see, how long has, I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks CRM has, I mean, it's been a good trade, I'm sure, channel trading. But then again, you see a lot of wicks here. So, you know, finally you get that break and downtrend. It's not something to take lightly. It's definitely where you could potentially see leap opportunities, just even equity. So Costco, my God, I didn't even know that I had this charted, but here we go. So this, that is a beautiful chart. I'm going to screenshot that. This one didn't really move in after hours. It consolidated so heavy for the last week or two. Really heavy consolidation in here, but holding that 9-day moving average. Bennett's over here like, what the hell is going on over here? Yeah, I don't know what, I'm sorry. I don't know these guys. Allegedly. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I'm quoting one of my other YouTube favorites. I like his channel a lot. He says that a lot. All right. So big volume anyway on today. Really, if you go, and should be a relatively easy one, and I would like to see a little bit more about their earnings as far as guidance is concerned. And the fact that they didn't move up on earnings, I've seen them have good earnings and still pull back. So we're not going to take this as a guarantee. As you can see, since the last earnings, people have already made quite a bit of money on this stock. So it's not something where you could just, you could. I mean, it definitely looks like there's a cup and handle potential, even though this is more of a V shape. You still have a handle opportunity here. I mean, this is some heavy consolidation. So definitely could be our next leg up as we build a new base. But I will be watching this one. I'm going to go ahead and set an alert. We're going to go down to the 5 really quick. And I'm going to set an alert here at 387.65. Costco's premiums too aren't the worst. Uh-oh. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, sorry guys. Says my stream, is my stream okay? How's the stream look? Is it blurry at all? Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna get to your request. Everything looks good? Okay, cool. Earnings tomorrow, there's Metatronic, MDT, Dollar General. Dollar General is actually one that I don't mind that stock at all. I kind of like it. I don't mean I like the company, but like I like trading the stock because when it moves, it can move. It hasn't moved like it used to, but That one making a weird ass cup. A lot of cup and handles. What the hell? Okay. So, oh yeah, we're gonna go over it. BYND with the crack cocaine move today. Good, and the crack cocaine move in after hours. My God. Wow. Wow. Okay, well, that is absolutely ridiculous. Looks like BYND is back on the same old shit. You can see here, if you look at the daily, that some of the moves that BYND moves fucking parabolically, excuse me. But it does. When it breaks out, man, and right now, the change in sentiment, you can see just how lightning fast that has just propelled this, and the volume is incredible. Now, one thing that you can take note of is that when the volume spikes rapidly, right? Big spike in volume. Now, you do get continuation here, right? So there's definitely room for continuation here. I definitely think that this is one that we should start setting alerts on. Alerts are your best friends. Those of you who don't know. You gotta set alerts. If you don't have a platform where you can't set alerts, tell that platform you don't like them anymore. Okay. Stick it to the man. Well, that's definitely some really sick after hours movement, moving straight up to that resistance right here, 149. It looks like in after hours. 150 is gonna be a bitch. Excuse me. I gotta quit for YouTube. Let's see here. I guess I could put pivot point strategy up, but okay, so there's a multitude of levels above us. Right now, I see. There we go. That's a little bit better. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure I have these correct. There we go. Okay. So right now, it looks like that 150, obviously psychological number, but I have 152.15. So that looks like, and honestly, it didn't even have a cup and handle, just made a rounded bottom and just sent it. And so right now, when you look at the volume and look at the levels ahead of us, I would say 165 if this trend continues to creep up. But if you look at the hourly, that's the only thing that you really have to pay attention to here. There is the possibility that you get a gap up, and then you could get a significant pullback at that point. The RSI is screaming. The MACD is way up there. We've seen it go higher. I mean, we've seen it over back here consolidate up at those highs, but then eventually pulling back. So no straight lines. Obviously, this is something that Manny and Justin are a little bit more proficient at scalping at. If you take any long calls on it, you know, it looks like a potentially good swing trade, but you'd have to be fast, because if you notice on some of these gap ups on BYND, you do get really violent pullbacks, and Manny can tell you all about that. I mean, this thing will drop like a hot rock right in your face. Yeah, we'll look at CCL. Kenneth, yeah, I can look at CCL, dude. Don't retract your message. Okay, so let's look at Tesla. I think that was the next one on there. Hold on one second. Nope, that was Highland. Is that correcto? Okay. Would you look at that? Lots of falling wedges in the market like this, Nick, and you are seeing. So one thing that I don't like to see is when you have such a reactive RSI, right? So you've made a minimal move off of $7 to 11, which I guess it's not a minimal move, but if you look at the comparing or the comparison, like, you know, to the way it moved previously, obviously there's not a lot more or as much volatility, and I'm not quite sure what even sent this. I don't know really too much about the stock. I've definitely had people in the chat play it. I can't remember if I have, but all that being said, it looks pretty damn good. You got 1, 2, even more, 3. I guess you could even say 3, 4 bounces off of this support, and then you've got that 1, 2. 3, well, 1, 2, and then you're going up for that third, and you could say that, like, you know, this is 1, 2, 3. This initial bounce was not, but you know, you have the potential with decent volume. Like I said, I don't like the RSI being so reactive, but you do have the potential to break this resistance and then trigger a EMA crossover to the upside. That would likely put you back up above or around this 200-day EMA, which we haven't retested since February. So it's been quite a while since we've seen any type of retest. So that would likely be where I would put a target within the next, I don't know, probably 3 to 4 weeks. Unless something squeezy happens tomorrow, or you know, and that brings up a subject. When meme stocks run, I'm starting to feel like I should, or at least the bull side of me, because it just feels fishy. Not that the internet and people are not responsible, but it doesn't seem like it's retail traded, like as far as like what's sending it up. Now I could be absolutely wrong, I might be speaking out my butt, but when you look at, like, and obviously, you know, there are people who are like going all in. I know there's, like, you know, the herd mentality. There's a lot of different perspectives on what's going on with that, but the fact of the matter is there are probably more bigger pockets, and I mean like even hedge funds or institutions that aren't necessarily playing this to the downside. And a lot of times you would have seen, I mean, if they really wanted to put up a fight, they just decided to go ham, like, I'm sure that they could do some significant damage. But all in all, the people who are holding, it never ends up like just crashing or anything like that. So I mean, it just doesn't make sense. They've, you know, seen other firms and institutions lose billions of dollars trying to play against the grain, and so it makes more sense to play to the upside, take profit at certain marks, and then you can even reverse your position there. But a lot of people, like, you know, have noticed, and I have too, that when these stocks run, the market will tend to dump. So that's something to keep in mind. Can never be for sure, but so tomorrow 1250 seems like a reasonable target for Highland if you do end up getting a breakout day, right? So if you do end up breaking out, that would be the 1250 target that I would put on it. You break 1250, you have another level at 15 even, and you can see that is very, very well respected. Interesting, 1265. Yeah, so this is actually a gap, or the start of a previous gap, not a gap that needs to be filled, but that is where that opening candle here on Highland, when it first made that initial run up, that is that 1265 level that you gapped up on top of. So that would definitely be where I would set my target first, is that level there. So let's see. Okay, so we did BYND, watch OSK. Looks like a couple handle right now for oil on the daily. All right, we'll check that out. NVDA, I know we wanted to do Tesla, but I think NVDA was first. No, Tesla was first. There it is. Okay, I see it. Tesla. And PODD. Okay, so the play has expanded on Tesla, and I know a lot of people are like saying that Michael Burry's probably punching the air, but if he's long enough, he's probably still fine. I mean, he's definitely feeling some pain. So here's the deal on Tesla. Okay, just making sure I had that accurate. So downtrend today, broken. Volume, but the main thing that I noticed today was the lack of volume. So like if you look at the day now, not like the worst, but like still, we know how Tesla moves. Tesla moved well, but did not show a ton of strength. But it is continuing to make that rounded bottom where we could potentially see the cup. Right now, the target, and let me fix this trend line on the hourly just to double check what I'm saying here. That's where you clean up your chart, is on the hourly. After you chart it on the daily, you can kind of find those actual marks. So absolutely. Okay, so looks like today, geez, you guys, can you guys hear my kids? One second. Just got a text message. Okay. So we talked about this today, and it's really funny because we went and slapped the gap and ended up pulling back immediately. And then kind of have sat and held that 9-day moving average. Really, really big volume coming in towards the end of the day, but we've continued to stay kind of curled up underneath that RSI right here, right below the overbought level. Seeing a little bit of a divergence. Very choppy. If anything, guys, if Tesla doesn't make a move up tomorrow, I mean, it's got a decent range in which it could move. And I hate to be like, so like, you know, it's either or, but the fact of the matter is it is really at that pivotal point. Fridays can be really unpredictable, so. Let's see here. I already have these targets marked out, but let me see if I can add a couple more. Okay. Yep, so right there on that wick right there, that's where rejected. So tomorrow to the upside, I would say 638, 640 level. More than likely you would wick above, hit 640 psychological number, and then end the day around 638, and that's your bull case. In a bearish case, we would likely reverse or even trade flat, which is even worse, and just make a rounded top here, right? Because you do have the potential of still, even though you have this candle here, if this was to pull back and just shoot right back down to this 50-day EMA around 609, the potential for a head and shoulders is there as well. So, and that would put you right back down to 570. So below the 200-day EMA and below, well, really, if it reverses and we end a bearish candle here, like reversing somewhere below this 50 or 200-day EMA, which is the orange line, then you can consider that a sign of a pullback. So yeah, I'll do PayPal. PODD. One second, guys. I'm gonna have to pause the stream really quick. I'm not pausing the stream. I'll be right back. Am I muted? I don't know if this mute works. All right, just 1 second, guys. Bear with me. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, can you guys hear me now? I apologize. I'm gonna probably edit that out. PODD. What the hell is this, dude? This is sick. Not very often do you see a really, really violent pull or rebound like that. It looks like something must have happened. I don't know. They dumped on earnings and then they pulled right back up, and it looks like that's where they're at earnings level. So if you look at the chart, it didn't really finish at any particular level. It just finished really, really strongly with very, very good volume. And it looks like you could be making a megaphone pattern. That's the only thing that I see is like this daily megaphone pattern. 1 second here. And these typically can be bullish. So if you do end up making your way back up, this thing could really run into the 300s. So I don't know how much premiums are for options or if you're just looking at equity, but PODD, it looks really interesting. I'll have to take a look at this one. It doesn't look like, okay, it kind of just trades a little body, but not much liquidity, but not the worst. Definitely nice move. Oof. Do some yoga. Okay, what else we got? We got BYD, Tesla. Oh God. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. Highland, Tesla, BYD. We got those. If you have an option up, how much what's the percentage on that? I mean, my God, do you have multiples or just one? I mean, it looks good. So, all right. So NVDA. Yuck. I have a ton of levels on this because we've been charting this one, watching this one heavy. So we all know split news, you know, incredible. That's what we want to see. The one thing that I've noticed here, why does it keep telling me it's not receiving? Hey, what's up, Mobo? Sorry, I'm answering DMs at the same time, guys. SB. Yeah, we'll check 3M as well. And I got CCO. What's up, Ben? Okay, so here's what I'm thinking on NVIDIA. I think that I do see the potential for a flag here, right? There's definitely that. We have broken that last downtrend out of that triangle. So following the angle of the lows, right? And this is just a projection. I could be wrong, right? But following this, there is the potential that we could continue to consolidate very briefly. What we'd want to see, and we did have quite a bit of volume today, right? So quite a few shares exchanged. But the moving averages are what I'd like to see move, right? No, we haven't gone over those. I'm taking your guys' requests, so if you guys have charts that you're looking at, let me know. I'm going to go over my favorite charts and all that other good stuff, but this is your time, so you let me know what you guys need. So NVIDIA, in my opinion, whenever a stock gets too far away from its moving averages, this is about what it looks like. This is about what you see as far as price movement and stuff like that. Move this over a little bit. There we go. You know, I hate these chairs that move up and down in some regards because I saw this really weird, or not weird video, but a video of, not a video, a picture of like the hydraulic rod or whatever inside of the chair, like blowing through the top, and it gave me a new phobia that I didn't know I had. All right. Yeah, we'll look at Jamie. We'll look at all of them. Okay. So anyway, right now the 9-day moving average, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring up the 6-day moving average, right? So we're going to pull our moving average. Oops. We already have a 9. So we're going to go in here, change to the 6. Okay, so 6-day moving average, a little bit closer. I like to use the 6-day moving average as a scalper, but it's also a very bullish moving average and could be where we see our first bounce, considering how far away our other moving averages up. I rarely use this unless I am like a high frequent. I like the 9 the best. The 9-day moving average, obviously that's a well respected, but especially once you cross VWAP, you know, not any type of moving average crossover. That I'm an EMA or moving average trader, so. I feel like a clown. Thanks, Mobo. We're unedited over here, okay? I don't even need that. Who cares? I'll just do it for it. That's what there's actually an eraser. There's actually an eraser attached to the back of my chair. It's an efficiency. If you're not being efficient, then you're losing, and that's my motto with the chair. All right, sorry guys. So right now 9-day moving or 6-day moving average 613.50. So we'll see what that looks like. You know what I'll do? I'll set an alert on that moving average. I got tiger blood. I'm just kidding. I think everybody is expecting the split. The split happens on... Wait, hold on a second. Let me see when that split actually happens. If it happens today, then it might more than likely over it, or done. So split is conditional on approval from shareholders at the company's annual meeting to be held on June 3rd. Upon approval of the split, so that may be what catalyst we need to see is the approval on June 3rd. So without erasing it, where's my not back of the chair eraser? I don't like to remove that one. Sacred. Oh well, it's fine. We'll do it later. Okay. So that's just something I want to remember, have up on the board. Yeah, I know I need to get the back of my head trimmed up. All right. June 3rd. All right. Hold on one second. Let me go grab my eraser. Ah, sorry about that. Okay. All right. NVDA, let's see here. CCO. Oh, wow. Okay. So CCL. So this is exactly what I was just talking about with NVIDIA. What you want to see from something like this, and this looks like more of a correction, kind of. Yeah, that's a correction right there. It was supposed to stay in trend, but it looks like it broke it, and it broke it along with another stuff. So, there you go. So. This is obviously great news. You have the wick to fill on CCL. If we go back and we look at previous levels, I would say that your next, I would say 31.05, 31 flat. Manny's there with the charger. He ain't here yet. Oh, I hope he's here. I need that moral support. Yuck. I tell you what, this is one of the last. I mean, Carnival Corp still has quite a bit of recovery to do. We got to remember how badly they were impacted and how badly they were already doing in the first place. But I would imagine if you are in fact going to be breaking out bullishly, remember you're also running up into earnings. Earnings could drop this hard. A lot of times you'll run up into earnings. And then from there, you'll end up, you'll run up into earnings, and then from there, you'll end up pulling back. It's almost as if earnings get priced in, and then it drops back to the original breakout level. So you're breaking out bullishly, but you know, anything is possible. I see the next level being 31.15, 31 level. If it happened to break that level, 34, you know, I would be out of that trade around 33.85, but definitely potential. That could be a good small account play, maybe a leap. If you're, it's a cheap leap. As far as I've seen, I haven't looked at the chain in a minute, but you know, look at that. Hold on, let me see. So the stock itself was also in a downtrend, and before I move any further, let me do this. Okay, so right now its daily target or daily or weekly rather is that 200-day EMA on the weekly time frame, which is at 36.86, which just happens to be linear deviation in, well, if you just call this a channel, which it looks like a perfect channel here, but it's really funny that the EMA is dead center. So more than likely, if we were to see a run, you would see some consolidation here. I'm going to draw this out just in case it ends up happening, just so I can be like, to myself. So that's if CCO actually becomes a real company. $40 call is hella ambitious, but November, you could see it happen. You definitely could. They're treading on thin ice, though. They messed something up, man. They're screwed. Okay. Oh, October. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay, good job. Make sure if you're writing me, if you're on Discord, to tag me. I can see all your comments on here, but just throwing that out there. Okay, so let's get to PLTR, FUBO. Okay, you know what? I like this. I'm gonna start on the weekly. Beautiful. Yep. I can't ask for a better setup there. I mean, this is obviously could be spurred by meme stocks, but just based off of pure technicals, you had that falling wedge deal here that ended up reversing. It even corrected itself. Kathy probably corrected it herself, but super correction over here, pulled back down, and then you end up having that crossover. And the sentiment, guys, please believe me, is changed. I think that this is one that we gotta leap. I'm actively. I may even leap this if it's cheap enough in a smaller account. Yeah, if you need any more details on CCL, let me know. So as far as levels, I very rarely get like I like this stock for fundamental reasons, like so much, because I don't like to get emotionally invested into stocks. Like if I see that they have good numbers and stuff like that, it's just like Tinder. Like I'll swipe right, but and collect some cash. Wait, that sounds terrible. Never mind. I'm gonna just extend that metaphor, but you know, you get what I'm saying. I don't get attached. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Multiple EMA crossover on PLTR. So volume perfect. RSI still has plenty of room to run. The MACD as well, you're getting a nice MACD crossover to the upside. We've already had earnings, so we have quite a bit of time to start making a decent run. This zone, and I'm going to put a box around it so that we remember, but this is where we saw most of PLTR get into business, and it was really hard to trade. This was where it was best to be an equity holder. But it just so happens to be exactly where PLTR hit today. So once we enter that zone, we're entering like this where we've seen quite a, I mean, look at this. So volatility spikes here. So we're gonna want to see a push to 25 and break and hold 25. I really do. Yeah, that's a good question, Derek. So a leap for you or for anybody could be, so let's say we're looking at PLTR here, right? We're looking at the daily time frame. Even on the weekly, we see a falling wedge. It looks really clean. So that being the case, if we're looking to take this long, we got to set price targets and look at the feasibility of time. And it's something that I do sometimes just in my head. You know, looking at how the stock behaves, it's a behavior type replication, you know, that I try and replicate that behavior that I see. Here you see a really nice clean breakout, consolidation, and then hitting that 9-day moving average. So if you look at where the 9-day moving average is here, I try and envision, okay, what would a bull run likely look like? What is the distance, or like what type of volume would give us the move that we need, and just kind of visualizing it, you know, like, okay, what is the feasibility that we're back in the 40s on PLTR by October or December, or even higher? I mean, this is where we could really see PLTR start to shine, not here, but just in general. And that would never happen. But you know, seeing these levels, knowing how the stock reacts, you know, you could get consolidation. And I kind of just visualize, okay, this is where a lot of heavy shorts are. We could see, you know, there's no straight lines, but we could see chop around that level, and then there's a gap. Usually when you get to gaps, it's either make or break. So if we ended up rejecting that gap, you would likely see a relatively strong pullback and then potentially going and trying to refill that gap. And this also has a lot to do with market consolidation, but I'm just looking at the time frame in which PLTR makes certain moves. When there's a catalyst, PLTR moves like crazy. So between August and November, if we get the catalyst we need, sure, we can absolutely do that. So yeah, we can. I absolutely will do Bitcoin, not a problem. So yeah, this is just one that we're just I gotta remember to set more and more alerts on. And that one's up against a relatively, yeah, look at that resistance there. That's the edge of that gap. So over 23, 23.15. Just making sure that I set an ACID alerts on this thing so I don't miss it. We'll take a look at that. Roblox hasn't been around too long, but I'll have to take a look at it, kind of answer that question a little better. But it could be starting that type of trend, yeah. Okay, so let's look at Fubo. Same thing. We actually talked about this a while back. The super hard downtrend, and we talked about Fubo for the first time, I think, in the Discord. Let's see if I. But we talked about that daily downtrend finally getting broken, and that's exactly where we ended the day, with a strong push, really making some distance between us and the resistance that we have broke. And so looking at the targets ahead of us on Fubo, and we did have pretty decent volume, but it looks like 27 evens. We have this mark of $30 even, which is, and this could just be the meme news or squeeze news, something like that. But just looking at the charts, you have the possibility here for that crossover that we like to see. So I mean, as far as the rounded bottom look, it also looks great there. I think that's another leap opportunity, not leap, but swing trade opportunity potentially. So, ouch. Let's see here. Same thing with JMIA as PLTR and Fubo. This one actually hasn't moved as far, but 30.62, and then really I want to see it above 32, and then we'll start to look at it long. But it's running up to resistance on low volume, coming out of a massive falling wedge, and really a huge head and shoulders that is, you could say still breaking out, but it's starting to really lose, it's starting to make a whole lot of sense here, as the moves are just really weak. So we definitely need to see JMIA, see volume return on JMIA, excuse me. Roblox, man, I tell you what. Roblox was a real pain in the ass. Usually when you see this type of doji, you would see a reversal. And one of the reasons why I exited a trade, and we did end up pulling back, but we bounced off of that 6-day moving average so hard. And we had $100 calls in the chat that we ended up taking profit on previously on this previous spike. That one, man, that one gave you FOMO hard. Let's see here. Man, at this point, this is price exploration, right? We've never made these highs. As far as repeating patterns, I definitely see kind of what you're saying as far as big jumps up, but this seems like a new trend. So a new push up. Hey, what's up, Top Shelf? Hell yeah, man. We gotta get you on here. This one, man, this is another Nancy Pelosi stock. If you guys don't know how to go and go look at some of these stocks that some of your congressional high official insider buying, there's a lot of different websites. Oh, short term? I'll take a look at it. I'll look at it short term. Hold on 1 second. I see what you're saying. Like a flag there, pullback, repeating pattern. I can see what you're saying for sure. Another flag there. I imagine that Roblox would hit 100 and then would likely pull back. Right. We don't with something like this. Yeah, you're getting a super parabolic move, and that's awesome. But what goes up fast a lot of times goes down fast too. Now I'm gonna try and hold. Yeah, okay. I see you. We could see a pullback on Roblox tomorrow, back down to the 50-day EMA. Looks like it's making a rising wedge. It's a little too early to tell, but this is your top resistance here. I just kind of eyeballing that bottom support, but this is your resistance at the moment. Let me draw a support off of this low here. Right. Okay. So if you can make a move and climb above that. If you gap up tomorrow, then don't be surprised if you retest this level as well. I'm gonna leave that up there. I'm gonna go ahead and set an alert on it. I like Roblox, but all right. So Bitcoin, I got this one. I think I don't want to like get too ahead of myself, but I think I got this one nabbed. So what I'm expecting. Right now it's sitting on the 6. I do think that it will push up. I think what's going to happen here, and you're going to see everybody start to call for a Bitcoin recovery. Now it's too early to tell. It's too early to actually like put your thumb on that. Let me move or shrink myself really quick. Hold on 1 second. Smaller, Garrett. Look, I am so small. Oh shit, Bennett. Nice job. Okay, so so what I'm thinking here, and the rationale is that the 50-day moving average, or the 20-day EMA on the daily here, is perfectly aligned with my resistance, right? And it's kind of weaved in and out. And whenever you cross a major moving average like this, and you crossed it, I tell you what, complete crossover. But normally, in between the time where the 9 and the 20 cross over, you'll receive or start to see a consolidation. Now, looking at the respective angle on this support going off the bodies, right, there's an angle there, so I went ahead and I drew a support. I also saw the angle here, right? And so whether or not this ends up being right or wrong, I a lot of times the moving averages are almost like liquid supports and resistances, right? They're not just staying in one place, but they're liquid and they're moving. But if they move and they almost like stay in trend with a support or resistance, it's only amplifying the fact that that may be the actual resistance that we're looking for. So I'm going off of, and a lot of times that I do that, the way that I've always charted has been very I don't want to say, it's been exploratory, I'm not, I don't judge myself, right? I draw crazy lines all the time just to see, well, what is the probability there, of that actually happening. Let me look at the weekly here. That looks like a hot crock of garbage right there. Youch. But anyway, so that's potentially what we could see here is a falling wedge, which would bring you down, right? Likely, I'm not going to say you're going to hit 25, but I have 27.50 here. And that's not if you don't end up pulling back one last time, scaring the ever-living god shit. Excuse me, pause, I apologize. But the ever-living shit out of buyers and people who don't unfortunately know what they're doing in the crypto markets. You could see a pretty drastic or hard rejection and pull back down, and this could be spurred by some type of news catalyst. So this is, like I said, and if the TikTok or whatever, it's a little early to tell, but that's kind of what I'm eyeballing here. So I could be wrong. I do see this other resistance here, where Bitcoin could end up shooting up and hitting the 54.78 level, but other than that, that's kind of all I got at the moment is that falling wedge. So, any questions? Anything like that? Any other 3M SB? Sorry about that. MMM. Ooh. Okay. Okay, SB. Hot dog, dude. Look at now, yeah, not a super impressive finish, but it just may not have been the sector. That's awesome. That's a decent look there. It's a little flat, but it looks like it has just, as of today, broken downtrend. So more than likely tomorrow, if it doesn't consolidate there, we've seen this a lot on a couple different stocks where the stock will consolidate just a few days, kind of bottom out here. People expect a breakout. They expect a run immediately, and that's probably why it doesn't happen like that. But if you go look at Fubo, right? So look at the Fubo. Look at the Fubo. Look at the Fubo. It pulls back. It chops. It doesn't go straight up, right? You have a down day there, and then pops out, right? When people are like, I don't know if it's going to go up. It made a double top, blah, blah, blah. Then it will pop up on you. So pulling that back and looking at this, you have a little doji here, but you finished on top of the 9-day moving average. And I'm imagining, I don't have VWAP up, I'll pull that up real quick. Oh god, I got too many lines now. Let's see here. Anyway, yeah, so it looks like you finished above VWAP. We saw this kind of finish on BA as well. And it looks like on the hourly, yeah, there you go. So there's a cleaned up hourly chart. So, okay, so this is, let me show you BA. Look, right? You climb above a resistance, you make a doji, then you gap up. So this may be a decent swing trade. I'm actually going to write this down. All right. I'm probably gonna erase like a lot of that, but that's okay. But anyway, does that make sense? Kind of, you know, where you have that break, it just may not be that sector's time. Not immediately going to see just a straight line, but looks damn good. Let's go. It looks like you could, and looking at a couple different levels before I move forward. It looks like the first target that I would put on it would be that 205 level. It looks like we finished at a level today. It needs to get past 203.85, and then likely you would see a push up to that 205 level. Then you have a very small gap, if any. Yeah, no, that is a gap. Is it? Yeah, it's a gap, okay. So a small gap right there. So starting at 206.60 and finishing at 209. Now you don't want to get like overzealous here, but if it does end up breaking around there, you might be able to eyeball 210 calls. I'll look at the chain here tomorrow morning. Let me see actually. So MMM 210. Okay. Okay, I thought my shit was not on right now. Okay. PayPal, sorry about that. All right, PayPal. Let me look at the weekly really quick on. Yes, 3M needs to fly. 220s. I bet I don't know if Rolly's watching this one, but I'd like to hear his opinion on that one. It doesn't have great volume, but the chart does have that nice bottom there. I'm wondering if we cup here, start to make a handle or something like that, or if we end up actually going and hitting 220, but I'm thinking 220 into June, or excuse me, maybe the end of June or August, excuse me. I don't know why I couldn't think of the month. I can put people in timeout. Where's Optasy? No shit. Alrighty. Yes, so we got PayPal, and we're going to go ahead and get your last request in there, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here shortly. Okay, so PayPal. We're going to start on the weekly here. Okay. Okay, so PayPal looks like it retested its 6-day moving average here and hopped right back up above VWAP. Great sign. Didn't have much volume at all. I mean, it had a little bit of volume push, but not a ton. Not compared to previous sessions, but you do appear to have a break-in downtrend. So as long as you're long on this, it looks pretty good. So you may see some further consolidation, but this EMA crossover here with any type of movement to the upside, you could see. It'll go back to 300 if it can clear. Watching closely. Yeah, so Top Shelf basically watching says we're watching closely and close to breaking out. It'll go back to 300 if it can clear. I agree with him 100%. That's that man. That's that man's talent right there, dude. I got a little periscope. This man's got a telescope. He's like, I see 300. Yeah, looking at that higher time frame now. Sheesh, that might be one. What do you think next year? I mean, this might be the actual cup. Oh boy, that might be a massive cup. I gotta go long on that one. That one looks cool. We'll have to see it break. But you have a nice breaking down trend here. Look at that channel trading, baby. Oh my god. Look at that perfect little like resistance, supports and bounces. Interesting. Okay, so PayPal, we got that one knocked out. Poop hole. I think somebody's in Justin's. Okay, you're in Justin's swing. If you're in Justin's swing, it still looks good. It still looks okay. Holding that 6-day moving average. Have the 6-day and the 9-day up on the hourly. And watch it there. Let me see the hourly here. Or excuse me, I didn't mean the hourly. The daily time frame. Now I'm looking at the hourly. Let's see here. Well, you make either you make a push up to 265 tomorrow and fill this gap, so you have a very small gap. Look at the volume too at the end of the day. That's not a bad look. You have a gap right here starting at 260.14 and then filling at 261.36. If you were to fill that gap and had any type of volume in comparison or relativity to this candle or this volume here, then you could see a push up to that resistance that I do have marked out there. Let me pull that down and clean it up a little bit. That is the nearest psychological number as well, so. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, so there we go. So we would just need to see, so this is not only a pullback, but a correction, and then you're holding that daily resistance turn support. So it looks good. Looks good. Okay, so UPS. Holy shit, what happened? Oh god, I was sitting there like cringing at this red candle, and then I looked at that. I mean, UPS has a massive daily gold flag here, and it just looks destined to break. Which one did we just look at that had the exact same thing? Need to get past inflation numbers on 610. 10-year stays low. Tech could really go. Big number on 610. Market will dump. Wait to scalp. Clear break before piling into a swing. There you go. You heard it first. And that is big too. We also got to get past aliens on June. We have, yeah, June 1st or June 2nd. Don't forget about that. So I was talking to somebody about that, and they were like, should we buy stock in aeronautical and defense? I was like, it sounds like if they're pretty scared of this, I'd buy puts. Okay, so UPS, it looks like it's staying consolidated here. It's definitely staying in range. Earnings pushed it up really high. So it's just holding that level. So we may see a breakout. I would go to the hourly time frame here. And I don't like that candle there. I mean, that's definitely super ugly. Let me clean up my resistance line really quick. Oh wow, that was a violent retest. That's what that was. So you may see a kind of like bounce or consolidation back on top of this resistance, but that's never a good sign when you see a giant pullback like that. I don't know what that was caused by, if that was news related or something, or just a correlating ETF, but it did look like it broke downtrend and then immediately just tanked today, but it never broke the resistance turned support, so that's good. It did gap up a little bit in after hours, so I would definitely set some alerts on that one. It may not have been time for the breakout and they just corrected it or something, I'm not sure. I've seen, or it could have just been a fake out, but I've seen different opinions on this one across FinTwit and stuff like that. All right, so let's go to coin. Boy with the coin. All right, let's see here. Okay. All right, another channel trader. Looks like we got a bounce, 1, 2, 3 bounces out. This may be, and this goes along with what, and keep in mind everything that I say, you know, like you also want to think about the fact like the inflation numbers on 610, everything, and this is one of the reasons why, you know, some of the positions that I take, if they're long, you know, like especially coming up to this event, like I feel a little bit uneasy going out months and months on certain things. A weekly swing or, you know, roadblocks and stuff like that, those are fine, but that was one of the many things, because I think we're one catalyst away from receiving a haircut with calyx on your head, so you're about to get scalped. But I mean, seriously, there is that potential. But looking at coin's chart, you did bounce off of that support. You do have the 6-day moving average crossing over over the 9, which then could spur a crossover of the 9-day moving average. Today you did hold VWAP. That's always a great sign. You didn't lose anything. You didn't gain anything. You just stayed in range. So there is the potential, looking at the 20-day EMA kind of flattening out rather than pointing down, that could be reassurance that we at least go and retest this support, and that support likely is at 257.50, somewhere in that range. And then if you were to go tap that 20-day moving average, you would likely wick up and then finish the day, but 260 would likely be that target there. So I ought to send you a mic, Rolly, so that way we can podcast it, man. That'd be sick. All right, coin. So looking at that tomorrow, you do keep in mind, I just saw this, you also have a gap as well. Look at that. Nice little gap there. So fill the gap, right? And then you'll likely hit that 260 level, pull back around 258, 257. So that's what I am thinking as of tomorrow. Would have liked to see a little bit more volume on that push, but regardless, that's what I see here. Oh my God, did you guys hear that? I'm sorry. Damn. Getting old. Alrighty. Lay it on me. Anything else, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Go do a little bit more work here. Any other questions? Listen, this is a whole different podcast if you guys want to get into the UFO shit. Because I've seen, nope, I'm going to just, you know what, I'm going to just take it day by day. Because if they want to whoop my ass, I don't think there's much I can do about it. So they're currently floating in the sky, defying physics. So I've tried to defy physics, and my bones, they break. So no thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you guys coming into the stream. That looks like, oh my god. That looks like it. Awesome. Make sure not to erase it. Did I erase anything? I didn't. Okay, we're good. I appreciate you guys. If you guys like the channel, and make sure to leave a like. All right, I'll tell this story before I go because I can't help it. I can call my fiance in here to verify this, right? I was in Georgia, and we saw a black. There was no lights on it, right? There was like one weird looking light on it, and it was like spinning. But we saw this massive black metal like craft like floating like I could have shot it if I had like, and I don't mean like I'm with a 22, right? Literally floating above a gas station. I almost crashed my car. I wouldn't crash my car for a made-up story about aliens, okay? So I don't know what the hell that was, but I saw something. So, and now I got the FBI to back me up, okay? So I seen it. Can't tell me anything. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm glad you guys liked the stream. Thank you for the likes. Make sure that if you guys aren't following us on, I know some of you guys are obviously in our Discord, but if you guys aren't following us on Twitter, Instagram, IG, follow us there. We do appreciate it. And for those of you in the Discord, I will see you guys bright and early. 8:30 is likely when I will be on, and we will prepare. But I also want you guys to keep in mind, please keep in mind, a lot of people don't trade Fridays. A lot of people only trade the last few minutes. A lot of people only trade the first few minutes. Remember that tomorrow is a great day that you could potentially make money, but is also a day where you could lose a lot of money on the weekly stocks. So listen, just as you're falling asleep, just like keep your mind like mad active and let your body fall asleep, and then just try and lucid dream through it, you know? Make your own laser weapons. I don't know. You got it. You got it, Derek. I believe in your dreams. All right, guys. You have a great night. Any questions, you guys know what to do. DM me. And we'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early. Thank you, guys.